Unboxing and review of the Donner Les Paul style DLP-124 S electric guitar. Before coming across this guitar, I'd never even heard of Donner before. However, after doing a little bit of research, I found out that they were established in 2012, and if you visit their website, they've got a massive range of equipment, including guitars and keyboards and drums and wind instruments and violins and even amps and speakers and a whole load of other gear. So in the light of all this, I thought it's well worth doing a review of at least one of their guitars. And the guitar I'll be reviewing today is their Les Paul style guitar, and it's the cheapest electric guitar they do. And it comes in several colours, but I chose the sunburst one because I thought it looked the nicest, and it gives it a nice vintage look for this video, or at least that's what I'm hoping. And it came through Amazon, and it was single boxed, which is a little concerning, and there was some damage in the back of the box, so let's hope it's not reached through to the guitar. I'll speed this bit up so the video doesn't go on too long and get too boring. And I'm pleased to say that the guitar's inside a padded guitar bag inside the box, which obviously gives it far more protection. And it's quite a nice case as well. And in the box with the guitar is a lead, a strap and an Allen key. But we'll take a closer look at these in a bit. Let's get the guitar out first so we can have a proper look at that. The zip on the case seems really good, and as you can hear, it's got a really positive slide to it. And the guitar fits perfectly inside. It's neither too big nor too small. And the guitar's got an extra layer of protection as well in a soft polystyrene bag, and these prevent the guitar surface from getting scratched. So I'll just take this off. And my reaction to the first view to the guitar is it's really cool. I like it. I'll just remove the last bits of protection because they've wrapped some paper around the strings to protect the strings and the frets. And they've also put a blob of polystyrene on the pickup selector, which is something I've not even seen on expensive guitars. Right, my first impressions with it coming out of all the protective cover is it looks way more expensive than it is. They've put some nice binding around the edge of the body and around the edge of the neck. However, it's a surprise to see that the body is completely flat, whereas if they were copying a Les Paul, it would obviously have a slightly arched top. But this doesn't detract from the guitar. It makes it their own, if anything. And this, with the combination of the two control knobs and the pickup selector down at the bottom of the guitar, make it a little different from what you'd consider to be a Les Paul copy. Yet at the same time, the fact that they're using a Gibson style tailpiece as well as a Tune-o-matic style bridge and two humbuckers very much reflects back to the Les Paul style guitars. Personally, I really like the design, as it's a little bit different, and most cheap guitars are just exact replicas of expensive guitars but using cheap components. Right, before we take a detailed look at the guitar, let's just take a quick look at the things that came with it, and we'll start with the lead. The lead they've provided is quite a good one, and it's got metal jack plugs on it rather than the usual moulded plastic ones. And one of them's got a 90-degree angle in it, which is handy if you're plugging straight into an amplifier that's got a vertical face, because if you use the 90-degree one, you'll take the weight off the actual lead and it'll last longer. The wire they use feels quite nice as well, and you can see here they've given lots of reasons why they've chosen this wire and the benefits of it. We'll test the lead later because I'll use it when I try the guitar. The strap seems reasonable quality as well, and it's made of a canvas material, and it seems really certainly strong enough for the guitar, and it's adjustable length with leather endings, and they've also put a lace on one end which is used when you don't have a strap button on your guitar, but of course you do on this guitar. I like the fact that even though it's not a known name to myself, the Donner logo that's on the guitar is also on the case and on the strap and on the lead. It gives the whole package a sense of uniformity, which makes it feel a little more expensive. Speaking of the case, we've also mentioned a little about it, but it's worth mentioning it's got a little pocket in the side that's over A4 size, so you can get your lessons in there, or if you prefer you can keep your strap and your lead and various bits and pieces in there. And it's probably the most usable case I've seen with a cheap guitar. It's got 5mm of sponge padding with a water resistant nylon outer coat with soft nylon inner coat, so it does offer some decent protection to your guitar. And it's even got a reinforced section for where you rest it on the ground. And of course it's got a carrying handle and 2 over the shoulder straps. Right, let's get the guitar back out of the case and then we can have a close look at it. I'll just remove the headstock labels, and they include a chord chart and a string action height ruler, as well as a couple of the Donner website addresses. To include a string action ruler is a really confident thing to do, because obviously the first thing you're going to do is measure the action. As I usually do when I get a new guitar, I'm going to put some conditioner on the fretboard, and that's because they're always bone dry when they come out of the factory. Now, because this guitar is aimed at the learner market, I'm not going to go into any details with the setup, but I'll just have a quick checkup to see how healthy the guitar is. And the first thing I'll do is check the neck relief, which is how straight the neck is. And I'm holding a straight edge along the frets, and I look around the middle of the neck, and you can see there's the tiniest gap, less than 1mm, which is, for a brand new guitar out of the box that's not been set up, really good, and it's acceptable if you're learning guitar. The next thing I'll check is the action, and I'll do this using their provided string action ruler. And what I do is put it behind the bottom E string on the 12th fret and slide it along until the black line matches between the fret and the string, and you can see it's more or less 2.25, which is acceptable again, especially for a guitar straight out the box. But what I'll do now is I'll check this with a professional gauge just to see if there's any difference. Well, it's quite depressing for me as I paid so much for my string action height ruler, but their little cardboard one is reporting exactly the same as my expensive professional one. And an action height of 2.25mm on the bottom E string of an electric guitar is well within usable range. Right, I'll just take off the protective films and then we'll have a good look at just the overall look of the guitar. I obviously chose the sunburst finish, but I really like the way this guitar looks in the sunburst, and the fact that they've bound the body of the guitar and around the neck really looks nice as well, and it frames the whole guitar off nicely, and it makes it look a lot more expensive than it actually costs. And to match the body, the headstock's been finished in a high gloss lacquer, and the machine heads are metal and chrome plated. The back of the neck is finished in a clear satin finish, so you can see the woodwork, and the wood is really nice and the joints are really neat. And working down the neck to the body, the neck plate is etched in with some details about the guitar and the company. And like some of the other details like this cost money to produce, so they're quite unusual to see on such a cheap guitar. Looking at the overall finish of the guitar, it really stands up to scrutiny. Looking at the front of the guitar and the gloss finish, and the back of the guitar with the gloss finish, and the overall lining up of things like the fret markers and the pickups and the neck, everything's aligned perfectly. And in the past I've reviewed expensive and mid-range guitars where things don't line up or the finish isn't very good. Well, this guitar certainly looks good. Let's see if everything works. And we'll just get the general feel first. The three-way pickup selector switch is very solid and you get a good click between the positions. And it feels quite nice quality. And the tone and volume controls both turn freely without any nasty grating or anything. The output socket is also very solid, and the jack plug fits in it neatly and is held there in place well. The machine heads or tuners have quite a good feel to them, and they're very easy to turn, but there's definitely no rattles with them, which is really important. Right, let's plug the guitar in and see how it sounds. And first of all, I'm just going to take the guitar straight through the mixing desk with no effects or anything, just so I can check the volume, tone and the switches are all working properly. But before I do that, I'll just tune the guitar up. The first test I'll do will be to make sure the pickup selector switch is working, and what I'd use is anything magnetic and I click it against the magnet on the pickup, and this way I can tell which pickups are on and off. The pickup selector switch is working fine. Now here's what the guitar sounds like, just playing a couple of chords in each of the different positions. Let's just try the volume and the tone. And the volume and the tone work okay, but if I was being really picky, they drop off a little quickly. I'll put the guitar through some effects now, which is how most people would use it, and of course this is the advantage of an electric guitar. Firstly, here's a clean sound with a little bit of reverb on the rhythm pickup. here it is with a more rocky sound using the treble pickup. I'm sure you'll agree, if you heard this guitar playing as part of a band in a blind test, you'd have no idea it was a cheap guitar. And I couldn't help but notice during the tests that it had really good sustain. So I took the back plate off to see if it was solid wood, and sure enough it is. However, I could have saved myself some time because it actually says on the website that it's solid basswood. But I did establish the fact that they've been quite generous with the wire, which could be really useful if you decide you want to upgrade the electrics. If all went well, and this video's got the thumbnail I wanted it to have, it should say cheap as chips, but is it as tasty? And the answer to that is yes, this is a really tasty little guitar. Even though it's really cheap, it's a great guitar. Oh, and it's worth me mentioning I did all these tests using the provided lead. In conclusion then, this guitar provides really good value for money. And if you're buying a guitar to learn on, you can't go far wrong with something like this. It's light to play, and it's set up well, and it sounds really good. It's quite light, and the provided bag, lead and strap are an added bonus. I'd also recommend it to someone who's already been playing for a while and they want a second guitar for something like, say, having an alternate tuning guitar or setting it up for slide guitar, or just something to learn about luthier skills and to upgrade the guitar. Because for the money, it's a good guitar. It's worth me mentioning as well that because this is such a good review, there's nothing in this for me. I've got no connection with the company and I don't get a cut of any sales that are made through this video. However, just to make life a little easier for people, down below in the description I've put links to this guitar on various Amazon websites all over the world. That way you can find it more easily. And if you're interested, Donner have got a Facebook group for musicians and music lovers, and you'll find the link to that down below in the description as well. Anyhow, I hope you found this review useful or you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And over the next couple of weeks I've just got one more review video to do, and then I'll be back to guitar lessons, so there'll be lots of new guitar lessons coming soon. If you haven't been following any of my guitar courses, you can find them on my YouTube channel in the playlists, and there they're obviously in order. Or you can find them at www.ebooks4guitar.com. And if you're thinking of following the new lessons I'll be uploading, it might be worth you looking at the old lessons and the old courses so you can get yourself up to date, and then you'll understand what I'm teaching you. Or you might need to revise. Thank you very much for watching, and a special extra thanks to all my subscribers, because without you guys this channel wouldn't exist.